No.
Yeah. All right. We're live, gentlemen. What's going on?
What's going on? Welcome back, Birdy Bunch. It's been a little bit. Golf is a passion,
Right.
but it's not my job. So sometimes priorities exist. So we haven't filmed anything in a minute, but we had a lot of people requesting, and so we thought we refocused, recentered. Me and Kevin got together.
Let's get it.
And then said, let's make some things happen.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an exciting year, right?
Absolutely. Introduce our guest, man.
So we've got a new Birdy Bunch member.
Booyah. What's going on?
Yeah, Dillon Board. I call him AKA Big Sun DB. I'm AKA Big Sun 1. This is AKA Slingshot 18.
Right on.
Everyone gets a nickname, Dillon.
That's
so
perfect. I'll take Big Sun. Let's go.
Yeah, hey, the way he moves it too, like he gets Big Sun. So I'm big. I just get Big Sun because I'm big. That's just how it works. So.
No problem. I'm real happy to be here. Real happy to be a part of the team. I can't thank you guys enough for this platform, for this opportunity. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we got some pretty cool stuff coming in 2023. The time off gave us, as Birdy Bunch, gave us time to kind of revisit and refocus and kind of center like our energies and say like, what do we want to do and where do we want to go, right? So videos, we have a lot of video things that we want to do, right?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And when it comes to the videos, we're talking about breaking down a swing. You know, starting off for our amateur golfers, just from the grip. How do you hold the club? You know, that for some of our more advanced golfers, it's like, oh, that's rudimentary. You know, that's boring stuff. But you know what? Everybody got to start somewhere, and we're trying to go to the game, right? We're trying to go to the game. And so we're trying to be all-inclusive to our entire audience.
And it's what brings people together. Golf brings different people together and what have you. And Dillon was talking about this earlier. You know, we're from 3 different handicaps. Mm-hmm. You know, we have I'm single digit, and then Kevin's right below the 10, right? And
9.3.
And Dillon, we'll dive into what Dillon's background is here in a minute. But real quick on 2023 videos, course reviews, club reviews, some swing breakdowns. Yeah. Some interviews. I think we got some cool things on the table for interviews, some things that people want to see. We also want to talk a little bit about some golf tips, things like that. And then what I'm pretty excited about is the launch of the Birdy Bunch store merchandise. So t-shirts, hats, visors. We've got some stuff that we just approved designs not too long ago. Some of this stuff's going to be pretty clean. Some of it's going to be a little bit more on the humorous side. You know,
gotta keep it light.
Gotta keep it light.
It's good stuff, though. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
You don't want to wear a polo shirt every day. Just say, hey, look, I play golf. Check me out. I got my foot joint on, right? So you got to have a T-shirt that lets people know, hey, I do play golf. I love the game. It's a passion. So, right. And then, probably the biggest thing that we're talking about for 2023. Besides the videos and the store launch, is bringing Dillon on board.
100%.
You know, I met Dillon a while ago. I've known him through other people. I actually had the pleasure of playing golf with him, and I've heard the stories. And we played a local golf course in Jacksonville, Florida, called Blue Sky.
Fun track.
It is a fun track.
It's a fun track. It's nothing to write home about, but if you did get a chance to slide through Jacksonville and play it, I recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll test you a little bit. It's not the hardest of tracks, but it's got some holes that are quirky. And I don't know, Dillon shot a smooth 65 with a bogey, right? Maybe
something like that.
I know you had. I watched it from behind.
Yeah, it was.
He beat me by 5 or 6 strokes. That's all I can say. But really, the big thing is that we want to dive into guys like Dillon who. Don't necessarily have the platform to get recognized, but Dillon's got some stories. Dillon is an aspiring tour pro, and he just recently got back from Hawaii. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And then,
aloha.
I know, right?
Yeah, he was throwing up the shaka in his fishing trip with a couple notable players. We won't name drop, but he knows some peeps and whatnot. But Dillon, a little bit about you. Tell us where you're from.
Yeah, no, I'm right here, born and raised, Jacksonville, Florida. On this side of town, west side. Okay. We're actually at Bent Creek shooting this video. I grew up practicing here. That's kind of where I met Chad, officially here, in our little Tuesday night league. We play sometimes, but no, from Jacksonville, went to Baldwin Middle Senior High School right down the road.
Would you have like 2 players on your golf team?
No. We were pretty good. We were pretty good. We had 7 guys, but we won back-to-back district championships.
Now you're gonna tell me you weren't the best one on the team at the time.
Me and Alex were pretty good. Alex is another friend of mine who is from here that played college golf as well. So no, we had some sticks for sure.
I got you.
But yeah, no, from here, practice here. I mean, there's nothing really else much to say. And my dad's been in the industry. My dad's from here. My mom's from here. So
so you
bounced around the city my whole life.
North Florida, born and raised. You know, representing. You know, you just got back from Hawaii, and your goal this year. Because I know we've talked about this before. We won't talk about Latin America because we want to dive into that on some other videos.
Sure.
And what does that look like? But for this one, because it was just so recent and you've got already, you know, early memories, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and what was your goal and what were you trying to accomplish?
So the main reason why I went to Hawaii was obviously to Monday qualify for the Sony, which this is the first event of the year. If you don't have any status or if there's not really a whole lot of stuff going on, if you were fortunate enough to qualify in and make the cut, you don't have to pre-qualify for any PGA Tour events anymore. So that's huge because now you just go straight to the Monday. You don't have to play good twice.
Right.
You only have to play good once.
Good.
So that's kind of the main reason why I went. Got through the pre. They were taking 40 in ties, which typically most pre-qualifiers have multiple sites.
Yeah.
So they're only taking 6 to 10.
Gotcha.
So they were taking 40 in ties. Got the job done, shot 369. Wasn't pretty, but the job was complete. Right. And then went to the Monday, fell a couple short, shot 1 under, and it took 4 under to go to a playoff. So,
What was that? Was that like the first time you saw the course?
In what do you mean?
In Hawaii, did you ever play the course before?
No, I mean I played a practice round, but no, I had never been to Hawaii.
Besides the guys, I mean, you were blind then, basically.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. But I mean,
don't hit here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's blind, yes, but really at that level, once you play it and you write good notes and you kind of just pay attention.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't play a practice round blindly. You go out there, you pay attention, you take your notes. Obviously, the more you play it, you get more notes, you get more knowledge. But once you play it one time, you should have a good understanding of where you can hit it, where you can't hit it, at least to go out there and play a solid enough round to give yourself a chance.
So you're there the Monday qualify. How does it work with caddy? Having a caddy kind of help you around the course.
So I actually didn't have one this week.
No,
I went out there and looped myself.
Dolo?
Solo dolo.
Woo.
Yep. And a lot of guys do because you know, you're bringing in tickets. You got to pay for airline tickets. You got to pay their food, hotel, everything.
Okay. And those things we're going to dive into because I think what's out there is everyone kind of hears like the actual PGA Tour guy, how they live, right? Some guys are driving RVs from tournament to tournament and so on and so forth. And you've heard the stories of some of the caddies like shacking up like 5 to a hotel room. Yeah. But I don't know if we really know the story of a guy that's like, man, I can play the game. And I just want my opportunity. I just one shot. Give me the opportunity. Let me get through qualifying. Let me show what I can do. So I think it's going to be interesting to hear some of the first-hand stories, you know?
For sure, and there's a ton of them.
Sure.
And that's the beautiful thing about it is there's not one road. There's not one in particular route.
Yeah.
There's so many different roads and there's so many different stories of success and failure of doing it.
Yeah.
The guy who made it this way versus the guy who did it this way.
Well,
I think it's pretty interesting.
I think most people probably think right off the rip, it's like, oh, I go play college golf, and then from there, I go to the tour, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no draft.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You know, I go to the tour, or I get onto the Corn Ferry, and they've made some inroads now for college golfers, you know, that have made it a little bit easier. Yeah. With the PGA Tour making changes and things like that. But let's talk a little bit about. I want to know what your favorite club in your bag is. Because I've watched you hit, and I can tell you what I would think your favorite.
So, really, like, honestly, it's my 7-iron. Like, if I have a 7-iron in my hand, then I feel pretty supremely confident.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can move the golf ball decent ways. Okay. And I do drive it pretty well for somebody who does carry it over 300 yards.
You can go and check out some of the shots that we've put on our Birdy Bunch TikTok page and Instagram page, and that's carried over to Facebook page, Birdy Bunch Facebook. You can check out, I've posted a few shots of Dillon at Blue Sky, and there's been some really positive comments about you moving it.
Right.
What a good golf swing. Like, it's very legit, and I've seen and played with some guys that are in that same ballpark, and it's It's impressive. It's impressive, especially for us golf nerds.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. There's been a lot of work put into it.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
You've been doing it for a long time.
Well, 7 irons is the club. What's the number? When you hear this, when you hear the number, like, oh, 7
Like
iron.
gotta have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like gotta have it.
Yeah, yeah.
190.
190. That's the
190
number.
is the
190
most
number?
perfect. If I got one, if I'm going for it's a long par 4, par 5, I have 190. I'm
190.
hitting the green.
7
Like,
iron.
Do you see the difference
That's it.
between us?
Oh man, I don't want to talk about it.
My go-to number is not 190.
190,
and it's
no.
not a 7 iron.
Not a-
190
at all.
Well, I mean,
At
like, if
all.
I-
But nonetheless, hey, he knows his numbers.
That's
though.
what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to.
He knows his numbers. So what's your favorite course that you've played? Let's say out of country.
out of country. So I'm gonna be a little biased because my best finish on Latin,
Okay,
which
okay.
it was in Bucaramanga, Colombia,
Ooh.
in the mountains.
I don't know how to spell
Google that.
Yeah,
Google Google Maps.
it's an interesting name. I don't remember the name. It's a very
legit, though.
it was a great golf course, and I played great. I think I finished 15th. Just played nice. I think I shot 17, 18, somewhere in there.
Is it safe to say that it wasn't flat?
It was not flat.
It was not
no.
flat.
No,
Okay,
it was
alright.
it was a lot of fun though. It was
Okay.
the golf course was relatively flat-ish.
Okay.
It was the surrounding areas that weren't.
Okay,
So the
gotcha.
ball, you're at 7,500 feet elevation, so you have to take that into effect.
Okay.
And we played the week before in Bogota, and I struggled
Gotcha.
like really bad, but just in terms of like elevation, how far the ball was going.
Right.
You get in like the heat. I think I missed the cut by 1. And make a mistake, the ball carries too far, or
Yeah.
carries too short. You really have to dial in those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Bucaramanga, I just got it right. And
Sweet.
unfortunately, we didn't make enough putts coming down the stretch.
Okay.
But it was a great golf course, really good shape.
Well, that's pretty. I wasn't expecting that because I can't pronounce it. But that's okay.
We have to add it to the list.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look.
Yeah.
Hell, I'm gonna have to Google it.
No, it was cool.
That
At
sounds
Bucaramanga,
Yeah,
yeah.
it sounds amazing though.
Alright.
So, and then what about what's your favorite besides Bent Creek? What's your favorite course in there in our area?
Yeah. Oh, in our area, ooh,
Yeah.
that's a toughie.
Now you play this course quite a bit.
I play
And
this
I play
golf
this
course a lot.
and I
yeah.
play this course quite a bit, just because every Tuesdays typically when time changes. But there's some courses around town that I
Like,
absolutely love playing.
yeah, same. Like if you're looking for my favorite public golf course in town, Northeast Florida would be Northampton.
Okay,
Northampton is
to test.
it's a great golf
Yeah, it's a-
course.
it's a
It's
test.
awesome.
And when it's
Pre
in-
changes or after the changes? Because there's a difference. If you're from the area, you'll know the difference.
So probably pre for
Pre?
me. Pre.
Okay.
I haven't played it a ton since they redid
Made
it.
the changes?
So
Yeah.
we used to they had junior tournaments and stuff out there, and we used to get so excited because it's just awesome. It was
Okay.
always
Well, it was
in really
a
good
treat.
shape.
It was probably a treat then.
Oh, yeah,
right?
100%.
Because it was, I mean, at the time, there was a lot of private courses up there. I mean, you had Fernandina, which was a public, but then you
Amelia
had a lot of
National.
private.
Yeah.
Amelia National was up there. River, what's that? Amelia River.
Amelia River.
But then
Yeah.
Northampton came up, and it was like this legit, like high-end public course,
Yeah.
and
That was in really good shape. Like, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
just awesome.
Always.
The
Oh,
range, the chipping facility,
number
everything.
number 17 par 3, wind always in your face.
Yeah.
Short little par 3 that I've seen more people blow it on that hole, right? And then the
All the par 3s out there, though.
yeah, they're tough. Oh yeah, they're tough. But then you got 3 short par 4s in a row, 8, 9, and 10.
Mm-hmm.
That if you play it right, you can go low in those 3 holes, or you can absolutely murder yourself and just be like, that's
Yeah, especially
I'm
on
done.
10.
Somebody pick me up at the clubhouse. I'm ready to travel south.
The par 3 that's all carry over water?
Yes, that number 6.
We'll pull it up. But
Yeah, number 6.
the
Well,
first
yeah,
time
we'll
I
show
ever
you.
played that hole, I got up there, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's all carry. There's no
Okay.
bailout. There's no bailout.
And there's
Either you
rocks
hit the
in
green or
front of
not.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then everything else goes from left to right.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you hit on the left side, it swales
Yeah.
down to the right and it feeds into the right.
So at the time, as a higher handicapper at the time, I puckered a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like, okay.
That's funny.
I'm checking the bag. Like, how many extra balls do I have?
Yeah, how many eggs we got in
Is
here?
there-
Exactly.
yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Where's the drop
Yeah,
area?
Exactly.
Let
I'm
me go
like-
ahead and throw one in.
I already had that in
Move
my
to the
head. I'm
drop
like,
area.
it's probably not the best swing thought, before you hit the ball. But I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? Let me plan ahead,
Yeah.
just in case. Just in case.
I mean, there's a bunch of holes like that, though.
True.
Out there.
Even for good players, it's like,
Oh yeah.
True.
Oh yeah. We were talking earlier too. Is I find it interesting, like you were talking about some of the tour guys that you know and some of the guys that you still play with, like how some of them just thrive on as much knowledge as possible about the clubs and about TrackMan and so on and so forth. And then you have the other side that is like complete opposite, like don't overload me with that C-ball hit ball.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And you tend to be on that side, the more C-ball hit ball.
Yeah, for sure. So my swing coach Eric Holcomb, who's actually based out of here at Bent Creek, we just came up with this term when I was in college, like information overload. And then once TrackMan and all these other things became available, that's even more. I'm like, oh my God, like my head's spinning. Like I was definitely not the brightest crown in the box when it came terms to like just taking all of this information in. And some guys thrive on it. Some guys want it all. And I'm the guy that literally, if you handed me a broomstick and I hit it straight, then
that's
I don't
what
care.
I'm playing with.
Yeah, I don't care.
And I remember when we played Blue Sky, you and I got into some pretty good conversations around the course, and I was asking you questions because I'm extremely inquisitive, and I'm a numbers guy. And I don't necessarily, I look at, because of how I swing, I have to have as much potential as possible.
Sure.
I have to maximize my potential. And to do that, for me, it's like I've got to maximize that number. And I was asking you questions, and I was like, so, what do you think you hit that hybrid? And you're like, I don't know, man. I can hit it 240 or I can hit it 270. Where do you want, Which I thought was awesome, because then that just led me to believe that you're more of a feel player.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about like feel players, that people that actually can like get the number and calculate it and be like, okay, well, I can lay off this 7 iron just a bit. But telling them just a bit, they in their mind know just a bit is a little bit slower, but they couldn't tell you like how much slower.
Right. Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said about feel players.
I can't disagree with you. The crazy thing is I see it. Like I'm so much more like imaginary when it comes to that. Like I see the shot before I hit it. Like I don't just go like, oh, I'm gonna hit a 5-yard draw, aim here, and then move it off this spot like some guys do, or vice versa if they're hitting a cut. For me, like if I'm hitting a cut, I'm just gonna like see. The best way I can explain it is, like the line they do on PJ Tour for the putt. Mm-hmm. It's like that like in my head. Like I see that. Mm-hmm. And then I see the ball flight, and then go from there. And I just try to reproduce what I just saw in my head. Okay. I don't know. That kind of sounds complicated.
No. I know some guys I've watched putting on greens, and they've drugged their putters. They tamped it down the whole way down the green and then followed that line. I know that guy.
You know that guy?
I play with that guy, and I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Come on now. There wasn't a tee marker all the way down for 6 foot.
Just created a trench.
You just
little train track.
It's like the guy that carves out the green in the snow, and he like makes an eagle putt. He's like, check my eagle putt. Like, I know that guy.
That's funny.
But for that, like, how do you think about it? Or do you think about it that way too? Or
messing with this guy, I've become a numbers guy.
Really?
Yeah, because I got the little tools I can bring out of my bag, and I'm lining it up. I'm like, all right, and I'll hit the same club, probably a whole bucket. And now I know it goes as far as this number and as short as this number, and this is my median. And because of that, with Chad and all the gadgets he has, now I'm a numbers guy. I'm a gearhead to the point where I pull that club out and I know it's a number between this and this. This is the club. And
it's interesting actually.
Yeah, because I think I started off as a field player, and again, messing with all Chad's gadgets and everything, I kind of got into that gadget world.
Sure.
And kind of tinkering. Mm-hmm. And from the tinkering point, I built more confidence knowing when I pull this club, I've hit it 100,000 times. It's going to go this distance.
Okay. Yeah. I don't argue that. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I see a shot, but I also know what I have to do to make that shot happen, right? Mm-hmm. So the way I hit a cut's going to be different than how he hits a cut. And the way I hit like a punchy draw is, I talk to him about this all the time. Like, I'm at the top, I'm bowing my wrist and I'm holding it as long as, and I'm just closing it down and cutting off my swing. Yeah. That's how I hit like this punchy little draw.
See, and I think that's the beautiful thing about this conversation. It's like even though I'm aspiring and I've played in some PGA sanctioned events, like I'm still learning. You still learn. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter because you may not be as far along necessarily as me, but you might have something that I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense. Yeah. So it's like
nobody, like no one hits a 5-iron cut like I do. Like I can open it up and like I gotta do what, and you know, someone's looking at me like, oh man, just, you know, take a little pitching wedge and just drop it over that tree and just chip up. I'm like, nah.
Move it all the way around.
Like I'm going over it and around it to the point where it might hit me in the backside. Like,
Boomerang?
yeah, I love it. Like, you know, I didn't grow up hitting straight balls. Like that, you know, I grew up kind of like you, like in the middle of nowhere, and go shag balls on this. We called it was Reynolds Golf Club. Was
in Cattail Creek.
Cattail Creek, and we called it Cat Turd Creek for a while because it was just horrible. But you'd go and shag balls out of the pond, and I guarantee you there wasn't a round ball in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
those balata balls back then too.
Like they were wet for so long, so you had to figure out how in the world do I hit it straight. So I'd hit a cut, and the ball would go straight because it's all wobbly, and ball's got a big knot on the right side, so it's going to spin more on the left side.
That's funny.
You know, so silly stuff. That's how you figure it out. So like you said, though, I mean, that's really what it's all about, is people looking at the game differently from different perspectives, and then what do they got to do to get to where they want to get from a goal perspective?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so I think that's some of the bigger things.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there, is you have to have a goal, or there has to be some type of something to achieve or something to strive for, because a lot of people that I meet, they're just like, oh, they're just coming out here to enjoy it. But they want to get better, but they don't necessarily know how to get better. And I think that's one thing that's probably we could talk about, is just intermediate goals, somebody, maybe your intermediate goals, your intermediate goals and mine. Like, they're going to be different, but as long as you have some, then you're striving for something. Yeah, because this game, you're not going to get better. Like, you're not going to get better not working towards something. It's just going to be really, really difficult to really see improvements, in my opinion.
And like you said, like you got here early and you were out on the range, right? You were grinding. And I think you hear a lot of guys that talk about it, right? And they want to go out and have fun and play the game, and then they get mad when they have like this crappy round, like they're beside themselves, right? And you hear them talking to themselves and like they're ready to quit. And then you just got to say, well, did you come out expecting to break 90? Because you've never done it before.
I know.
And then you go, okay, well, how much work did you put in? Oh, well, I went to the range before the round. Like, if you didn't have it like last round, and you didn't do anything between last round and this round, you probably don't have it now, unless you were just given a horseshoe, right?
Yeah.
The lucky horseshoe, and everything went your way.
And that's the same guy that I offer him a koozie and a cold one.
Yeah, exactly. Have fun, dude.
Here you go, man.
Have fun.
It's all you.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
Trust me. I mean, I've had some blow-ups on some courses where I'm like, man, I've had direct conversations like golf was like a person. And I'm like, I've given you everything.
I know.
And this is what you give me back.
right.
I'm done. I quit. You know,
It's like a relationship.
It is. It's a love-hate one for sure.
And then what do? You go in the next hole, you like birdie, or you get a par, or you chip in or something. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's all good. All right.
Call me daddy.
Do this again. See what's up.
Right.
I'll pack. I'll leave.
That's right. That's right.
It's so amazing, because this game doesn't owe you a damn thing.
No, it doesn't owe
and
you
you
anything.
put in so much work,
Oh my gosh.
and you're like, there's no way this game's going to continue to treat me this bad. And it's funny, as soon as you hit one good one, you
you
could hit it terrible for 17 and a half holes, and you flush an 8-iron on 18, you're coming back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
You're coming back
Oh,
tomorrow.
it's- You know
Everybody
what's
can
funny is-
relate to that. Everybody
Yeah.
who watches this can relate to that point right there.
You can also relate to like the guys that legitimately want to. They know they're realistic about their goals, right? And they go and they have a really good range session. The next day, they're like, if I don't go today, I'm not going to carry it over, right? They're afraid they're going to lose it overnight. Almost like the twinkle dust is just like disappears, you know?
But it's amazing how that happens, because
Comes and goes.
but I'll come back the very next day. I'll come back at 6 in the morning, and it feels nothing.
Yeah.
It's not even close to the
Oh, I know
same.
it. Yeah, I
And
know
it's
it.
just like, golly.
And you're wondering, like, where did this go? You know, you leave the course one day and you were like off the tee, you were hitting this like stupid slappy cut, and you're gone nowhere, and you've gone every hole. You're like, I have never gone in with a club this long on a par 4, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, forget it. And then 2 days later, you come back and you're like,
Stripe it.
oh, there you are.
There it is.
And
There
you
it
didn't
is.
do anything,
Found
right? You grind it a little bit, and you're like, I gotta fix this, and you're sleeping on it. Wake up in the morning, you're doing air swings. You're like, yeah, oh, that's why.
I do it in the shower.
Oh, dude.
All the time.
All the time.
All the
All the
time.
time, no
And in
matter
the
what.
mirror, Like my wife will come in and she'll be like, "What?
What are you doing?
Why are you? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Look, just
Yeah,
give me
like, just
20
give me
more
more
minutes.
Trust me.
Give me.
We all
I'm
do it.
working through some things. Like,
I-
don't worry about it."
I walk out my back patio and there's like the orange whip is out there. I've got a bladed 6-iron out there. I've got my swing sticks out there, and I go in the grass. I'm just like, that's what it. No, why
That's the
couldn't I
feeling.
do that,
That's
right?
The feeling I'm looking for.
What do you always tell yourself? What? At least me, I say, "I found it.
I found it.
That's
I
it.
found it.
Yeah, as soon as you walk
It's
up.
back."
Yeah, I found it.
That's
found
it.
You know, so yeah, it's a great game. I think it's going to be a good year, 2023, especially for Birdy Bunch. You know, I think we're going to get into a lot of, you know, a smorgasbord of things that, like, when I open up YouTube and I follow certain people, I follow them because of some of the content they put in, and it's different content. Some guys stick to just club reviews, and I'm interested in that. And then some guys are, you know, challenging, like 1v1s, 2v1s, you know, playing the hottest college player, and that's cool. I watch that. But, you know, I really want to dive into like a bunch of different stuff, you know? I mean, I don't think we should hold back. I think ask the questions probably that people are interested in. I think there's a lot out there about the business of golf, kind of like what you're into, like
Sure.
meaning, like, how does this guy get to Hawaii? How does he get to Latin America? Where does that come from? Where do those funds come from? I mean, we want to dive into that a little bit. We want to be able to kind of talk about that because it doesn't happen overnight, and I'm sure it's lots of sacrifices that you've had to make. So I think it's important for the masses to kind of be like, okay, yeah, he's not going to just win a tournament and collect a check for $2.3 million at the Players, right?
Yeah,
He's
no,
got,
it's
you know,
a longer ladder than that, my friend.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it's doable. It's a ladder that's worth attempting to climb.
True.
And if you got the game and you can prove that and
Yeah.
you can explain that, and you know, a lot of it's kind of, you know, just building relationships and just taking that your team along the way,
Yeah, yeah.
because golf is an individual sport, yes, but you got to have a team around you, your wife, your family, your friends. There's got to be a support system, and I firmly believe that once you kind of figure that kind of stuff out, then it makes it a little easier. When you get to come home, it's your life's not over, even though when you miss the cut or anything like that, you feel like your life is over. But golf's not everything, and
yeah.
and then you kind of figure that out, and it makes golf a lot easier.
That perspective, in my opinion, is key because I've seen a lot lately with a lot of people who have a lot of pros who have a team, and they not only include the physical side of it when it comes to the physical side, you know, the trainers, and everything like that, and then people who stretch you out, but also on the mental side.
I
you
mean,
know, the mental aspect of the game. It's huge.
I mean,
100%.
Tiger changed the game for everybody, but I mean, now you look at it and you got like John Rahm and Justin Thomas and Jordan, all these guys. They've got like you said, full-on teams that would be no different than your top sprinter in America or anywhere, right? Or you know, there's full-on teams behind them, positioning them. And some cats, you know, if you don't have that financial ability, you're doing it on your own. You're trying to figure it out. And you know, was it Hogan that said, you know, you find it in the dirt, right? So you're like,
100%.
I'm not fine. I have it right now. And then tomorrow you come out and you're like, I found it.
I found it.
Who wants to play?
That's it. Let's go.
And I ain't giving strokes to anybody. Who wants to play?
Yeah.
Speaking of who wants to play, hey man, we play golf. We'll travel. Holla at
Yeah.
your boys.
Yeah,
We'll get out there and we'll get on the road. Let's go. Let's have some fun. You know
We'll
what I
fill
mean?
the tank up.
Yeah.
You
Go.
just tell us where to go.
Yeah, I think
Let's guys.
Yeah.
Let's ride.
I think there's some groups out there that are local that, you know, have their channels. I think it would be fun to partner up. I mean, obviously we're all trying to do the same thing. You know, we're all trying to inspire people, trying to, you know, continue to push the game of golf. You know, so yeah. So I think we've got a pretty strong, formidable team is what I would say.
Yeah.
That's right.
100%.
Hit the like button and drop a comment.
Yeah,
Let's
100%.
go. Let's
Let us
go.
know.
Let's
We'll go anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer to go to like maybe South Carolina, Aiken, somewhere around that area. No. But yeah, there's a lot of good things happening in 2023 for Birdy Bunch. We're excited about Dillon coming on board. If you guys want to see something, ask a question, post it in the comments, like, subscribe. We're gonna send up some sneakers, some sneak peeks to the on the new line that we've got coming out. You know, we've got some things that we're lining up for interviews. We want to talk to a couple people in the industry around our neck of the woods that are actually doing really well not so much in the pro side, but in the actually business of golf. Some people that have taken it to the next level. So we're pretty excited about some of that stuff. And then if there's somebody that wants to come and sit down with us and cut it up and talk about what they love about golf or the game of golf or what inspired them to play. You don't have to be a scratch. You don't have to be single digit. You can be a 20 handicapper that just loves the game. We want to get thoughts from that person too.
Yeah. Love the game, man. Come share. That's
Yeah.
what it's about. It's community.
Having a good time.
Yep.
Having a good time.
100%.
Having fun.
It's still competitive, though. Don't get it twisted. It's still competitive. we will talk a little bit, but we got thick skin.
Yeah, a little chirping, but it's all
Right.
fun and games.
I'm actually pretty quiet most of the time.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, don't not believe that at
No,
all.
I give it
Pinocchio.
pretty hard. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my man's lying over here.
Yeah,
Let me just go ahead and slide out of the aim of fire.
Exactly.
Get out of the frame, right? Just come this way out of the
Exactly.
frame.
Yeah, I wish I did have a shot of the video that you played on number 18 when you were behind the tree in the pine straw
Yeah.
at Blue Sky, and he's got his partner riding with him. I was actually playing against his partner, who beat me by one stroke because I double bogeyed the par 5.
Did
double,
you?
yeah, I either bogeyed or double bogeyed. I hit it in the water.
Get back to the tree. Get back to
Anyway,
the tree.
so he's behind the tree, and his partner's like, man, just lay up, and he calls me over, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, man, we've been talking. So I walk over there, and he's like, what do you think I should do here? And I was like, man, just cut it around this tree and just aim for the left side of the green. And he's like, okay. Like it wasn't even nothing. He opens it up, cuts it low cut around the tree, drops just on the other side of the green, and a little bit of rough patch, nothing he couldn't handle. Chips it up, bam, bam, walks away, 6-5.
what?
Crazy.
Out of the pine straw?
Dude, it was a pine
It
straw.
was a good shot.
I've seen a couple of guys who.
Dude,
who-
the tree was like from me to you.
that
And
close?
he's he's sitting around it, and he's like, he looks at it and goes, yeah. He goes, and here's what was funny is he looks on the other side. He goes, I was kind of thinking about going this way. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I like it around this way. He's like, okay.
Well,
it was awesome.
It was in that particular instance. I'm more comfortable with moving it harder from right to left. It's easier to keep low.
Okay.
See?
You have a small branch. I was like,
did.
man, like if it comes out, if it kind of climbs the face a little, and just comes out a little high, it's gonna hit the branch, possibly stay short of the water, but probably go in the water.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, no. And then I looked at the line. It was kind of hard pan. It wasn't really pine straw per se. It's hard pan, so it's gonna come out low.
Gotcha.
And then once we saw that, I was just like, yeah, you're right. Like just hit a hard cut 5-iron.
Ripped it over, stayed on its course, cut over to the right, just off the green, off the first fringe, right in the little bit of the rough, and he just chipped it up. Boom, done. Walked
Bang,
off.
bang.
Walked
Nice.
off. Looked at his score. I got his scorecard somewhere, and I was like, man, that's pretty legit. So so welcome back. We're excited. We got a lot of things going 2023. So next video, we're going to get into a little bit more. I want to talk a little bit more about Latin America.
Sure.
And I want to talk about that experience. And with that experience, like how you got there. Like what did it take for you to get the dollars to get there? And,
Okay.
And how you tried to stretch that out.
Yeah.
Because I know that's a difficult thing when you're over there. Like, so let's talk about that on the next video. And then I think next video, if you don't make it to the TikTok channel or you don't make it to the Instagram channel, we're going to get some videos of Dillon swinging. And I promise you, I won't bring out my launch monitor. I'll just be like, yep, that's 125. I promise you. I know the difference.
You have to go with me on that.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
we'll do some of that so people can kind of get a legit idea. And, we'll just keep shooting video, putting content out there, like and subscribe.
That is called a teaser, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We'll see you back on the other end.
All
Yeah,
right,
we'll
fellas.
see you. Thanks for the introduction.
Right on.
All right, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man.
It'd be good stuff.
Right on.
That was fun.
Right on. And that's how we chop it up, bro.
That
Just like
was a
that.
lot of